Hey YouTube, breaking news around the FEG Feed Every Gorilla ecosystem. It has been hacked as of yesterday, actually 2 hacks, not so good. A few million have been lost. Really unfortunate. Now, you guys know I cover FEG on this channel, so in the spirit of being neutral, it's important that I cover the hack as well. I'm going to talk about what happened. I'm going to talk about the lessons learned for it for both you as an individual retail investor and also a word to the FEG team. You don't want to miss this, all of this, and a whole bunch more coming right up. All right, friends, Wes Spencer back with you again. Thank you guys for joining me. This is a quick special edition YouTube video. Don't normally produce 2 in a day, but sometimes when big things happen in my sphere of influence, it's important for me to cover it. If you're just getting here now, I've been covering FEG for quite some time. I've always been interested in the project because of the growth of the ecosystem, its inclusiveness, and some of the innovations that are happening inside of what they're doing with the FEG exchange, with what they're doing in the future of where FEG is going lending and smart DeFi, the token explorer, all that kind of stuff. I'm also a cybersecurity guy, so it's pretty important that I tell you I've actually worked with companies that have been hacked. And I've worked with many of them actually. And so I've been through these emotional events with my clients and helping them deal with the aftermath and sort of balance this stuff out. So I'm going to give you some thoughts around all of that as well. But one thing I want you to do, we hit like and subscribe, super quick to do that. Like by the time I've now said this, you could have done it already. It really goes a long way for this channel for me to be able to just produce awesome content for you guys. So without any further ado, let's jump into the news. One of the first things we saw that happened was this tweet right here that came from FEG. This was on May 15th, which was just a couple days ago in the evening, about appearing to be an isolated exploit. Now, it was indeed isolated. It was limited to the swap-to-swap function of FEG, and that's a good thing. But they temporarily halted everything to kind of dive in and understand what was happening. It didn't seem to affect anything in Uniswap, in Pancake, or anything else that dealt with like the exchange functionality of FEG. And so at this point, news was sort of breaking and we're trying to understand what was happening. And some additional tweets had come out. I'm going to put links to all of these in the description so you can get to them. So this came out the same, I guess, a few hours later, but May 16th at 4 in the morning. So look, here's one of the things that happens when these big breaches happen. It's all hands on deck and you don't get sleep. Everyone's pressuring you. A million priorities come up and stress level goes to maximum. And so you have to understand sometimes when you see erratic, and keep in mind, nothing about what the FEG team did was erratic, but sometimes when you look at the response to a major breach, you get erratic responses and it's because of fatigue and stress. And so definitely kudos to the FEG team. They've been pretty, in my view, both on Reddit and Twitter, they've done a great job being transparent about it and answering questions and engaging the community. And even in their Discord channel with their voice channel and being open, they haven't like tried to hide from everybody over, which I think is great. So they cover this. I don't have time to go through every little piece of this, but they mentioned that on May 15th at approximately 8:20 UTC, there was an exploit in the S2S functionality, swap to swap, and it affected both FEG on the BNB side and the ETH side, so both sides of it. So they immediately halted everything and started working with some third-party teams to kind of understand what was happening. Peck Shield, which I will link one of their tweets in just a minute, started working with them to understand how the exploit was occurring, where the source of it was, so they could at least address it and deal with it. And so that all continued to happen for some time. And right here are 2 links. Again, this tweet will be provided for you in the description, so you can go check what Certic says about this, and you can also check what Peck Shield says about it. And both of those companies, I know Peck Shield a lot less. I know Certic quite well. I even did a video review of Certic a while back, diving into everything around all of it. And you can even see right here, this is the original tweet that Peck Shield produced right here, where they said, hey, FEG team, you might want to take a look at this, and they give the address. I'll go to that address in a minute, so just hang tight. So they kind of talked about everything that happened, and then there was a follow-up tweet that came out as well. And this was just a few hours later, I think 4 hours later or so, something like that, after the one I just showed you. And so this is where they were talking about working on a new swap contract, which they're going to have to do because the original swap contract can't really be revoked. It can't be changed. And so a new one was going to have to be developed. And so that was what's going on. They were working through it. And unfortunately, a second attack happened. And it was, I don't know at this point if it was the same attacker. Maybe that attacker shared information with another one, but we do know that the attack itself was sort of addressed and then it occurred again. And it occurred from the same source. It wasn't like something new that no one had seen before, anything like that. Here's Peck Shield's information. This is their tweet around this. They're actively working with the FEG token team. And I do know Peck Shield is even in, to some degree, some amount of cooperation with like federal law enforcement, doing what they can around all of this. And so you can take a peek at this. Again, you can jump in. And I should probably mention this at Spreakaway. I'm now following this person on Twitter. They were the ones that like first exposed all of this. So they're the ones that even mentioned that FEG was getting attacked a second time. They said, looked like the attackers gotten about 1.9 million altogether, 1.3 on the BSC side and 600,000 on the ETH side. So all in all, not great, right? I mean, definitely not great when you consider the market cap of FEG. This is a significant amount of damage. Fortunately, it wasn't everything. Because this was limited to the swap to swap functionality, everything else was okay. So if you had funds like in your own wallet, you're fine. It didn't drain the entire like FegX ecosystem. It didn't drain like, what was happening in decentralized exchanges like Uniswap or Pancake. So in that frame of reference, could have been a lot worse, right? Could have been far, far worse. So if you want to take a look at these, you can actually see them. So this is Etherscan, which is going to show us the Ethereum side of the house. Again, I'll put a link in the description so you can go to this. You can also find it right here under filters. You can just search FEG token and then you'll see it come up. Here's FEG token exploiter 1 and 2. So you can actually see it that way as well to dive into these. And so you can see right here, this right here, I think we're looking at the second one here. And this one here, you can see what's happening. They've already received this Ethereum. And so you can see what they're doing is they're sending out 300 Ethereum in total out to Tornado Cash. If you don't know Tornado Cash, it's a very well-used crypto washing platform that lets you sort of mix crypto with other transactions and sort of hide it. And the idea behind this is to be able to, for the bad guy to be able to siphon that crypto back and to be able to use it to sell it or make money off it, right? Because the thing is, it's stolen. And there's a lot I could say about this, but I don't have time in today's video. What you need to do is go back and watch my Axie Infinity hack video and also my Polygon network attack video. The reason both of those are important is, first of all, it's number one and number two most expensive crypto attacks in history. And also, what we've learned in these kinds of attacks is because crypto goes onto a blockchain and that blockchain is traceable, it's actually very difficult for a bad guy to wash those funds or launder those funds and get back clean crypto that they can use to do evil things with or whatever. They're stolen funds. And look, even here on Etherscan, this particular address has been marked as exploited on FEG token. So we now know this was the exploited address. So the key for the bad guy is if they can actually wash this by sending it to Tornado Cash correctly, then their stolen funds will be stolen forever. But it's much more difficult to do that than you would think. And bad guys, take note if you're watching this video. You may think Tornado Cash is this perfect way to wash crypto funds. Let me tell you, it's not. I know people in the federal government that do a lot of tracking around this, and also companies like Chainalysis that do tracking. It's much more difficult to wash significant amounts of funds like this than you might think. And so, yes, you've stolen a whole bunch of Ethereum and BNB, but let me tell you, good luck trying to actually utilize that unless you're in a country that doesn't have extradition authority with the United States. Here's the BNB side. This is BSC scan. So you can see the same thing here. Here's all of this. As you can see, there are much more BNB that was stolen. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I think BNB was more heavily traded in the swap functionalities, but you can see just lists, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that were all sent over to Tornado Cash. So same thing, trying to be washed. I don't think they'll be as successful as possible. So there you have it. There's both of those. You can go take a peek at those if you want to see them. I'll put links in, like I said. If you look at what's happened, this is on the Ethereum side on CoinMarketCap. We're taking a look at what happened. So $34 million market cap. So when you lose, 2 to 3 million, I guess 600K on the Ethereum side, it could be worse, but it's certainly not great on a small market cap, young crypto. And you look at its, 1 year, it's had some really good, strong highs of late, and it's gone up and down. And of course, the whole market, it's kind of been like this the full year. But if we zoom into like the past 7 days, you can see the price has gone down some, but fortunately not a whole lot. And again, I think the reason for that is because it hasn't affected individual users. Like I went and checked just to make sure that my FEG that I own in my own private wallet is safe and secure, which I expect it would be. And it is, right? So that's good, right? I don't want to use the words like dodging bullets, But the significance of this attack was not as bad as, in theory it could have been if the exploit had reached more things. There's also a message from FEGROX, the founder of FEG. I'm not going to read all this, but again, a link so you can go read this if you want. Just sort of talking about we're working as hard as we can. We care about you in the community. We've got lessons learned from this, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things I do want to say is, yeah, lessons learned, right? FEG, you made a mistake. But here's the thing. Code is written by humans, and humans make mistakes. That's the truth. We will always write vulnerable code because we as humans are vulnerable. And I want you to listen to this. There's no doubt going to be plenty of commenters on my YouTube channel, which I'm going to leave them on there. I'm not going to go delete them unless you're like hostile to somebody. I won't remove them. That are going to say, FEG is a joke. It's a scam. It's all that kind of stuff. It's a terrible coin like all the rest of those that are out there. If that's your opinion, that's fine. But the thing that we need to realize is FEG is not alone in being attacked. FEG is not the only one that suffered this. And cryptocurrency as a whole is not the only kind of company that gets hacked. Again, I'm a cybersecurity guy. I've worked with tons of companies, even small businesses that get hit by these ransomware attacks, and they pay over $1 million in recovery, and not to count lost sleep, lost business, reputational damage, all this kind of stuff that happens. So my point is, hacks happen to everyone. And please don't be that person to be the one to throw the stone when you yourself could be just as susceptible to it. And if you don't believe me, a little like final encouragement here, look at this. This is, I should have gone to the top here. This is the 13, this is from Decrypt, which I love Decrypt, 13 biggest DeFi hacks and heists. Look at this, the number 13 one, Grim Finance, 30 million. FEG doesn't even sniff this. FEG is not even 3 million. So in the scheme of things, not so bad. So Grim is 13, Meerkat at 31, V Finance at 35. You see how they're going up. Pancake Bunny, I don't even know this one, at 45. BZX, don't know that one either, 55 million. Badger DAO, 120. Cream, I do know that one, 130. Vulcan Forged, I don't know that one, 140. See, I haven't even heard of some of these hacks, and they're astoundingly large in the damages. Compound, I do know that one, 150. Beanstalk, 182. Wormhole, that I think is fairly recent, at 326. And then Ronin, I covered Ronin on the Axie Infinity hack at a staggering 552 million, but not to be beat by the number one that I also covered at 611 million. Now, what's the aftermath of these kinds of things? One of the things I think is important to talk about is, from an aftermath perspective, it may not be as bad for FEG, given that it wasn't like hundreds of millions, but they also may be able to recover these funds. If you follow my video on the Polygon network, I actually dove into the transactions inside of there, and you could see the Polygon, I'm sorry, I keep saying Polygon, it's Poly Network, not the Polygon protocol, it's Poly Network, totally different group, sorry. When we see the Poly Network folks are actually talking to the bad guys, writing onto the blockchain, please return the funds. Turns out the bad guys weren't able to wash the funds, and so they gave almost all of it back, to which Poly Network gave as a fee, or like think of it as a bounty. We call this a bug bounty. They gave some as a reward back, saying, A, thank you for finding the vulnerability, we've now corrected it. B, thank you for doing the right thing, sending the funds back. So C, as a result of that, we're going to return some funds to you as a reward. I'd like to see that happen with the FEG team. I reached out to the FEG core team. They did say they're actually in I shouldn't say communication, but they've sent a message to the bad guy to their actual address that the funds were stolen and sent to, and basically offered that and said, hey, how about we do a split? I'm going to guess it's probably like 80-20. We'll keep 80%. We'll give you 20% as a reward for saying thank you. It's the right thing to do for the community. They get a reward out of it still. And at that point, it doesn't have to be washed, because the FEG team has now given it to them voluntarily and legally, even though they did some bad things originally with it. So I'd like to see that happen, and let's hope that it does happen. But the lessons learned for this is just this. When you have crypto attacks like this happen, they're going to continue to happen. This won't be the last one that you'll see. It's unfortunate for FEG, and they did make a mistake, but they've owned up to it. They're doing the right things, and they're communicating with clarity and dealing with third parties to help them through it. And ultimately, they'll recover and be better for it. Just remember, when you get into crypto, you get into smart contracts oftentimes, and smart contracts dictate how the crypto platform of subject works. And when there's vulnerabilities in those codes, they're susceptible to attack. And as I said before, because we're humans, we all make mistakes. Haven't you made a mistake? Mistakes hurt, but we learn from them and we get better from them. And that's what the FEG team is going to do. And that's what every other crypto project that gets knocked down can stand back up, can get back through it. What a negative series of videos I've done lately, but that's just kind of the way the market's been. I hate having to cover what happened to Luna. I hate what happened to, all of the regulation that I'm having to talk about and the fear over that and how rough the market's been, and then only seeing that happen with FEG. So let's just remember to be kind to each other. Let's remember that life is short. Let's remember to be to do unto others the way we would have them do unto us. That takes us a really long way in life. Try to smile a little bit. Try to look on the bright side. Try to get outside and get away from crypto, because sometimes it can become so toxic for us. All right, my friends, there you have it. My heart goes out to the FEG team, but you're doing the right things. Keep it up. Stay tenacious. Do the right thing for us in the community. Continue to be transparent, and you will get through this. Thanks, my friends.